Good morning, everybody. We're back here in our hometown after our trip to Clarksville and have the opportunity to sit here with two of the leaders in our depot district and one of the leaders of our town, and I want to introduce those to you. Sitting next to me is Councilwoman Raquel Peebles. She is also the council representative on our Arts and Culture Advisory Committee for the town of Smyrna. That group is tasked with creating a 3, 5, and 10-year plan for arts and culture for our town, and thank you for your leadership in that area, and thank you for being here this morning. And then over here next to her is Mr. Jeremy Bird, and many of you know him because he takes care of your business needs and your party needs with Front Street Signs. He's the owner, and Jeremy's made some significant investment over the last years into the upgrades and restoration in our depot district, and we're sitting in one of the buildings that he's built that's been an amazing addition to our depot district. So these guys have invested interest in our town, and we wanted to hear from them some of their responses of what we saw in Clarksville. So I just turned to you guys. From what you saw, what are some key points that maybe we can take from what Clarksville's done that maybe we can glean and put into practice here for the town of Smyrna?
There were a couple of things that were discussed that stood out with me. One of those was that in bringing art into a community, that you need to look at not just the direct impact, but the indirect impact that the art has. So not only is it getting people out and bringing them into the community, but we need to look at also how it affects the other businesses around. Are they going to have lunch? Will they go to some of the other shops because they came down to experience some type of art event? And
Right.
So I want to take a look at that and see what other avenues are affected by what's going on in their art district, and how they can intertwine those to not only impact the community with the art and culture, but also the financial impact that it can have on what's going on in that community. And then from the standpoint of actual activities that they are doing, I loved how they made several of the businesses alternate sites for galleries.
Yeah,
So
right.
they had a funeral home that had like an entryway that contained art. They had a hospital. They had different places that they were showing the visual arts. And he also made a point to talk about how art is not only visual, but that there are other forms of art. And I also think we need to acknowledge that
Sure.
and look at other mediums so that
Sure.
we can make sure that all artists are being represented.
Yeah, well, it's not just visual art.
Right.
It's music, it's dance, it's
Storytelling.
comedy, storytelling, it's design
Yes,
elements.
It's not just about artists, it's about creatives.
Absolutely.
And I think that we need to lean more into that terminology so that our arts community knows that we are talking about all types of creative individuals.
We see that when you create those environments, there are other types of creativity that begins to grow. Even creativity in finance and business.
It's just like she said, there's all forms of art. You know, there's art in architecture, there's art for different mediums. I understand it from this business, everything's creative. We're not just doing signage, it's art. It takes a creative person to build a machine.
Speaking of, one of your favorite art forms is automobile design.
Yeah, I love autos. You know, taking value in something that wasn't valued.
We have a car person who has a business right down the road
Crusader Classics.
Auto Works.
that has a lot of classic cars, and they're
Yeah.
beautiful.
I know Clarksville has some great cruise-ins. They have one every Friday night. And when I tell you they pack it, they pack it.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and trying to figure out how do we integrate that here. I'm actually president of the Antique Automobile Club of America, the chapter in Murfreesboro. I love that community, and that brings economic impact too. But people don't look at it as art,
Yeah.
but it is.
And so we have to figure out a way to change people's perception.
Like the redoing of the storefront is architectural elements, is
Absolutely.
art. I would like to see more places like they have to gather, more places for people to be creative. We have one for comedy and whatnot. The Station Theater's great.
And a lot of people don't know that the
The
theater
pub and the pub. The pub
theater
has
and
artists.
the pub. Clarksville has found a way to really find amazing funding into that. because they've recognized the impact. They even point out that investing in those kinds of venues, they may not make a lot of money once they're operating. They may simply break even, but it's what they bring in
Totality.
yeah,
Tax
to
dollars,
the
the whole nine
economic
yards.
vitality of the area that makes it all happen. So I think we've got to find that component. I'm not sure what that is. I have some ideas, but that component for finding consistent funding into our, not just Depot District, but as the town develops the other 2 districts on our corridor. You know, we don't have a squared out downtown area. We've got kind of a historic corridor of Lowry Street with historic things on either end with the airport and the automobile district. So if we develop those and bring collective tourism events and those kind of things to each of those districts all happening at the same time, then that brings significant dollars into our area and makes a difference. You've made some investment in properties here and helping to upgrade them, and the recent reopening of one of the properties across the street with Downtown Social. You did an amazing job with this building of making it fit, but doing what I call ancient modern.
It's just to try to create that environment we need down here. I knew what I wanted the community to see when I built it, and when it was done, the best comment I get is, how old's this building? And then I can laugh at them and say, it's 3 years old.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing, is restoring. And I know in Clarksville, I've been down there, they have done a fantastic job keeping the buildings up. So my question is are they incentivizing the property owners? But including those businesses also that have those things. They have those venues, you know. We need to bring them in to that arts world where we're all collectively working on things, because that's the one thing I see with them is they're working together. They're engaging the business owners, they're engaging the property owners, and that's what we've got to do a better job of here. And that boils down to a group of people getting together and heading that, because right now they're doing it on their own. And if we have people that are engaged with the businesses, the community leaders like Raquel and the council, I feel like sometimes that's the key. You've got to have that leader that has the energy and the want to and the passion.
We brought up the benefits of what we've seen in the Main Street program in Murfreesboro of bringing people together collectively and having a structure that actually has someone pushing that, some type of creation that helps push people together and keeps us moving forward in things.
But I also feel like sometimes with leaders, sometimes too, they get burnt out. So there's got to be a good rotation, in my opinion, on getting fresh ideas.
That's why you need a good team.
That's right.
And so I think not only do you need a good leader, you need a good group of people around you to create those ideas and even help you, if you have an idea, multiple ways to get that idea done. And the more diverse the group or the team that you have, the better the idea is going to get implemented. And the other part to that is you have to cause people to want to be invested in whatever it is you're doing. Get people to understand the bigger picture and letting them know, yes, we want this to be a community where you can serve. We want this to be a community where you can bring your ideas to the table. Let storytellers know that they're valued as an artist who makes visual art, or a musician, or an architect, or a car lover. And we have to figure out a way to gel all those people into these types of environments so that they all know that they are wanted, needed, and that they all add value to this community. We actually did a survey and tried to find out what people wanted from the arts community and the creatives community. And one of the things that we found out is that communicating what's going on is one of the difficulties, is that people don't know all the different things. Whether it's a cruise in, whether it's an art crawl, exposed to all of those newcomers, our neighbors, the uniqueness of Smyrna. And I think the Depot District is very key to that.
You've been part of and helped the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee with the development of the Roundabout Smyrna, trying to drive it as one of the means by which people can find out about all those activities. We brought back brochures that they distribute in their hotels and in their restaurants to those who are visiting the area that have guided tour, points on them, maps that people can follow and actually go and see things that they didn't even know were there.
We're working on that, at least from the ACAC. We started building an arts and cultural asset chart. So we have tried to list all the different areas of arts and people that we know who actually fit into those. And I think we probably need to go back to that at some point to update it, because there's so many different areas and we want to make sure we're inclusive of those.
Cultural assets in Smyrna and our even topographical, our parks are an amazing asset.
Smyrna has some of the best parks around.
Yeah.
In my opinion, between Lee Victory and Todd Lane, the ballparks, everything is
Cedar
just
Stone.
all well taken
We actually
care
just
of.
got an award for the development of our 6 pickleballs and pickleball courts and tennis courts. And the Parks Department just received an award 2 weeks ago for that.
Those are assets. The lake's an asset. The airport's an asset.
The SOAC, I don't know,
SOAC's
we've
an
been
amazing
named as
asset.
the world's best, our SOAC location.
There's so
assets,
many
cultural
things
assets.
that,
Yeah.
that are, we just need to find a way to wrap them all together with the cultural development of it so that it's cohesive.
I don't know if we take a more historic approach, like you say, by using brochures and putting them in different hotels and different locations, or if the social media, and that means not just Facebook, but Instagram and maybe even TikTok, because one of the things that I think we need to work at is bringing all different ages into this setting. And I think maybe people that are more our age are more apt to get involved and to actually go look for the information. Facebook, the town webpage, or your webpage, or Roundabout. But we also have to learn how to incorporate younger people or people of different cultures. And I think that's the thing we have to start working on to make people feel included and wanted. Figure out ways to go to them, not always expect them to come to us.
And to that point, that's what we struggle with in our car club. That's why we started going on the Great Race and trying to get younger kids involved. We didn't do that for a while. We never really started it till last year, but we've got to. It's like I tell my people, let the kids get in your car. Let them look at it. Open the door for them. Open the door. Because if we do not open the door and we leave it shut, they don't appreciate what's there. They just think they can't touch it. And that's kind of what I try to explain to them, that you've got, and open the door that phrase can be used with so many things in the arts world, because that is the issue. How many younger people are you seeing doing some of the things that these other artists are doing? It's just like metalworking. Metalworking rolls over into automobile stuff. And one of the best metalworkers I know, he does true coach building. He does a lost art, and he wants kids, but it's getting the word out there to get them to go in there and learn, because I'm telling you, once the man passes, he's older. And once he passes, it is literally a lost art.
Yeah, Eric's got some guys like that, doing some of his restoration at Crusader. He's even connected with the tech center to see about, getting students that they already have a beginning of the training that they can bring into that restorative process.
And I know we're working towards that, because we've tried, the ACAC has gone and tried to go into the high schools and get students involved, get their media involved.
Thank you for your time today. Thank you for your investment in our town. We've got a lot of things to do, but there's a lot of great things happening. So keep your eye on Roundabout Smyrna for more content that we create that lets you know about all the things going on with arts and culture here in Smyrna.